Someone once said that the three sweetest words in the English language are the words, I love you. But last night at the dinner table, my wife told me the two sweetest words in the English language. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Welcome to All Things Food with John Woods. I love to cook, but I cook to love. So let's talk food. Welcome to this series on 50 ways to love a catfish. I told you a minute ago that my wife told me last night at the dinner table, as she could only tell me, the two sweetest words in the English language as we were preparing and eating this dish I'm going to prepare for you today. She said, delicious catfish. And once you try this dish, you're going to find it to be one of your favorites all time for your family. So let's get started. So I'm going to share with you some very simple ingredients. Of course, the star of the show is our pond-raised Mississippi catfish. And then we have shelled pistachios, about a half a cup. And then we have some panko breadcrumbs, which are my preference over regular bread, non-seasoned breadcrumbs. I just like using panko crumbs. I like the texture of the crumbs. Then we have some fresh parsley, some salt and pepper, and a few eggs, 2 eggs for our egg wash. And then don't forget butter. Everything's better with butter. So let's go ahead and get started with this recipe. We're going to take our half a cup of pistachios and put them in a processor and hit them on pulse for just a minute. So we want to chop those up fairly fine. See, almost to a powder, but not a little coarseness to them, but almost to a powder. Then we're going to mix those with our panko breadcrumbs. We're going to add our parsley. We're going to mix it all together. And this forms the breading for our pistachio crusted catfish. You're really going to love this dish. And then it's pretty simple from here. So it's time to bread our catfish. We're going to take a two eggs, break them into a bowl. Take a little whisk or a fork if you have one handy. Nothing too complicated about this. Mix that up really good. Then you're going to take your catfish fillets and put down in that egg wash. And then now we're ready to bread. So we'll just put that right up on a plate or whatever you might have. Get you a good generous handful here. Press down on that. I meant to put a little bit on the bottom. We'll just do this in reverse. No big deal. It's not going to hurt anything. So I like to press that in really, really good. Now we're going to take a little sheet pan or whatever you have, whatever you like to use for baking in the oven. Spray it real generously with some spray pan. Take the fillet or fillets, if you're doing several, put them right on the pan. And we're going to go put that in a 400-degree oven, probably for about 10 or 15 minutes. It just depends on your oven. All ovens are a little different. If you have a little bit of extra crumbs there, just go ahead and sprinkle those right on the top. It's not going to hurt one single thing. And then we may want to just salt and pepper this to our taste. I like a lot of pepper, and use a little more salt than you think. I use probably twice as much as I think it's going to take. So let's don't forget one very important final step, and that's putting the butter on it. Butter makes everything taste great, and actually this is clarified butter, so I've kind of kicked this dish up a little bit. So we're going to just take a little bit of butter, and this is going to help with the flavor and also the browning of the dish. And I usually like it to be a little more melted than that, but it's pretty cold. We just had an ice storm here, so it's fairly cold in our area. So we're just going to put a little bit of butter on that, and we're going to go to the oven. Well, we just brought it out of the oven, 425 degrees. It probably took about 10 or 12 minutes. Again, it depends on how your oven cooks, so you'll have to figure that out on your own, actually. But what a beautiful piece of crusted pistachio catfish. We're going to put it right there on that plate, and you can hear it sizzling, actually. And it really, really smells good. I wish you could smell that. Be very careful. That's very hot there. And I can hardly wait to try this. I hope it's as good as it was last night. But what an easy recipe. You're going to impress your family and friends with this one. especially if you have a lot of nice, good side items to go with it. So let's see how it tastes. Oh, don't forget your tartar sauce. And my wife was correct when she told me those two most beautiful words in the English language. Delicious catfish. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll see you the next time right here on 50 Ways to Love a Catfish.